I stood there in an ill-fitting tuxedo, marrying a woman who didn't even know my name. Friends and family whispered behind my back, pitying me. Some even said I was nothing but a stand-in for my wife's unforgettable first love. On our wedding night, she was called away by him. I just sat there, quietly guarding an empty room. For years, she would fly overseas just to visit him. I kept my mouth shut, and never asked a single question. That was, until her precious first love got a divorce. That night, I accidentally overheard him asking her, his eyes red with tears. I'm back now. Would you still be willing to marry me? Lang Qingshu went silent for a moment, then answered with absolute certainty. I would. At that very moment, I knew it was time to give back my title as Lang Qingshu's husband. The very next day, I handed her the divorce papers. She didn't even glance at them. She was too busy chatting with him on her phone, signing the papers without a second thought, completely tuning me out. Then she hurried off. I stood there, watching her walk away, and felt a sudden wave of self-mockery. I really wondered what her face would look like when she finally learned the truth. There was still about half a month left before we'd get the official divorce certificate. So, I used the time to pack up my things. While I was saying goodbye to my buddies, Lang Qingshu actually showed up out of the blue to pick me up. On the drive back, she stayed dead silent for a long time. Finally, as if suddenly remembering something, she turned to look at me. Szechuan, what exactly was that document you had me sign half a month ago? It's been so long, and she's only asking now? Well, makes sense. She's been orbiting around Song Zihao this whole time. Why would she care about such trivial things? I snapped out of my thoughts and was just about to answer her, when her phone rang again. Qingshu. I drank too much. My head is killing me. Can you come pick me up, please? Lang Qingshu's expression darkened. Song Zihao. I've told you so many times. I'm already married, so what if you're married? The groom at that wedding was supposed to be me. His careless, entitled tone instantly angered her. In 3 years of marriage, that was the first time I ever saw her lose control. Well, did you even show up? Fine, I'll never bother you again. The call abruptly disconnected, but her expression didn't soften. After a long pause, she finally caved. Send me the address. She turned back to me, her face full of guilt. If you have something to do, just go. I'll grab a cab back. She still felt bad, looking at me apologetically. I'll come back and keep you company as soon as I'm done. I just nodded. Standing in the pouring rain, I sent her a text. That document you asked about, it's in your passenger side glove box. If you want to know what it is, just open it. It wasn't until half an hour later, when I was already home, that she finally replied. No need. If you asked me to sign it, it obviously wouldn't be anything to hurt me. Which meant, she wasn't going to look at it. Of course, right now, she's in a massive rush to pick up a drunk Song Zihao. How would she possibly have the time to look? Even if the papers were right there at her fingertips. It poured for a whole day, finally stopping by dusk the next evening. I stayed cooped up at home, quietly taking down every single post about my married life across all social media. After clearing out my timeline, I logged out, only to immediately see Song Zihao's new photo dump. It was a gallery of him lounging on a yacht. Every single shot was perfectly angled. I knew he was doing it on purpose, but I just didn't care about these petty games anymore. Shortly after, I got a call from the clerk. Hello, Mr. Liu. Your divorce papers are ready. Please bring your ID to pick them up. Over the following week, Lang Qingshu didn't come home even once. Instead, it was Song Zihao, who sent me a bunch of provocative messages every single day. 7 days left. He sent a video. In it, Lang Qingshu was half kneeling on the floor, massaging his calves. As I watched it, I threw every single thing I'd bought for her over the years straight into the trash. 5 days left. He sent over a few photos of her personally sliding a ring onto his finger. Without a second thought, I smashed our wedding portrait to pieces and tossed the remains right into the fire. 3 days left. It was a voice recording. Lang Qingshu had fallen asleep, yet she was still murmuring his name. I took every single gift she had given me since we got married and threw them all away. This villa, the place I once called home, slowly emptied out. Mr. Liu, why is the house suddenly so empty? Did something terrible happen? We're just getting a divorce, that's all. But, what about the missus? Did she agree to it? I don't know, but I imagine the Lang Qingshu of right now would be absolutely thrilled to see those divorce papers. After all, her heart and her eyes are entirely filled with Song Zihao right now. 2 days left. Song Zihao sent another message. This time, the camera wasn't focused on Lang Qingshu, but on his parents. Looking at the photo of the three of them gathered around a hospital bed, chatting and laughing so happily, I felt absolutely nothing. I still didn't text him back. Instead, I opened my contacts and permanently deleted Song Zihao, Lang Qingshu, and anyone else associated with them. The day I finally left, the first snow of the year began to fall. I took the boxes I'd packed the night before, my old diaries and unsent love letters, and carried them out to the courtyard. Just as I was lost in thought, watching the swirling snowflakes, the heavy front gates suddenly swung open. Lang Qingqiu, who I hadn't seen in ages, was finally back. She glanced at me squatting there on the ground, went straight into the living room, and when she came back out, she stopped right beside me, looking down at those pale pink envelopes. She couldn't help but remember the letter from the party, and just like that, her long-held anger finally began to soften. I've been really busy lately. Give me a couple of days to wrap things up, and then let's sit down and have a proper talk, okay? I just smiled, looking up at her. There's nothing left to talk about. The thing you've always wanted most? I actually gave it to you a month ago. What thing? Just as Lang Qingqiu was about to ask, her phone chimed a few times. She tapped the screen, and saw the messages. A smile reached the corners of her eyes, as I watched her expression. I tossed the last few love letters into the fire, and stood up, my tall frame blocking the burning pile behind me. Lang Qingqiu finished replying to her messages. The love letters had just turned to ashes, and she completely forgot what she was going to ask me. I walked her to the door myself, and pulled the car door open for her. A gust of freezing wind blew past. Lang Qingqiu noticed my thin clothes, and softly told me to go back inside so I wouldn't catch a cold. But I insisted on staying at the door to see her off. The car started, and quickly disappeared from my sight. I stood alone in the snow for a long time, before finally heading back up to my bedroom. I put on my coat, grabbed my suitcase, and went downstairs. The snow was falling harder now, flakes drifting down onto my head. From a distance, it almost looked like white hair. A taxi pulled up to the front of the villa. Before getting in, I turned back for one last look, and repeated that barely audible whisper once more. Goodbye forever, Jingbai. Meanwhile, Lang Qingqiu drove straight to the hospital. Today was the day Song Zihao was getting discharged. Last night, he had been whining about wanting to see their childhood photos. So she had made a special trip back to get them. As she walked to the elevator carrying the heavy bag, she brushed past a strange woman. And from this woman, she caught a whiff of a familiar, simple perfume. It was Song Zihao's favorite scent. This woman just came out of his room. Was she a friend of his? A hint of doubt crept into Lang Qingqiu's mind, but the elevator quickly arrived. She didn't think much more about it, and pressed the button for the 7th floor. The moment he saw her, a bright smile lit up Song Zihao's face. The two of them flipped through the photo album, reminiscing about the past. Talking about their childhood, Lang Qingqiu quickly pushed everything else to the back of her mind. By noon, the Song family arrived to take Song Zihao home. As soon as they saw her, they immediately started thanking her. Lang Qingqiu quickly returned the courtesy, her tone incredibly humble. Zihao, his injury is partly my fault. Taking care of him is the least I can do. Hearing this, Song Zihao gently patted her hand. I already told you my injury has nothing to do with you, Qingqiu. I even had my parents come over yesterday, and explained exactly what happened. So please stop blaming yourself, okay? Hearing this, Father Song nodded in strong agreement. Over the years, your aunt and I have been so busy with work. If you hadn't been looking out for Zihao, who knows how wild he would have gotten. We're the ones who should be thanking you. Song Zihao walked over to Lang Qingqiu's side. He was just about to act playfully, but Mother Song pulled him back. You're both older now, and you have your own family now, Qingqiu. Zihao is still immature. Please don't mind him always clinging to you. We'll teach him better, so he won't go bothering you anymore. The atmosphere in the room instantly froze. Lang Qingqiu understood the hidden meaning perfectly. Her breathing faltered for a split second, but quickly returned to normal. The smile faded from her lips. Song Zihao's expression changed too, but he just pretended not to understand what his mother was implying, and looked at Lang Qingqiu with a cheeky grin, trying to change the subject. Alright, Qingqiu and I grew up together. What do you mean, trouble? She even promised to take me home, right? Lang Qingqiu lifted her head, just as she was about to answer. But after meeting the meaningful gaze of the two elders, the words hovering on her lips changed. I was planning to, but my secretary just said there's an issue at the company. Since you two are here, uncle and auntie, I won't get in the way. After saying that, she didn't linger any longer, turned around, and left the hospital room. She hadn't gone far when Zihao's mother called out to stop her. Handing over the photo album, she said, Qingqiu, Zihao really wronged you in the past. But he was young back then. He didn't understand how precious a genuine heart is. Please, don't take it to heart. Looking at this elder who had watched her grow up since childhood. Seeing her face so full of apology, Lang Qingqiu gently shook her head. Auntie, I've already let go of the past. I won't hold any grudges against Zihao. Please, don't worry. Zihao's mother let out a heavy sigh. Her eyes were filled with regret as she looked at her. It's Zihao who wasn't lucky enough. And I guess you two just weren't meant to be husband and wife. I heard from your mother that the man you married later is very filial and very sensible. And that he treats you really well. You need to cherish him. He is the one truly worth your care. The one who will grow old with you. Lang Xingqiu knew Zihao's mother meant well, and she also understood that things between her and Song Zihao had ended long ago, right at that wedding, when she spitefully decided to marry someone else. Over these 3 years, she had tried to forget the past, to settle down and live a good life. But after all, he was someone she had loved for 18 years. How could she just let it go that easily? So, when Song Zihao came back and kept pestering her time and time again, she ultimately softened her heart. Even if they couldn't be lovers, the bond of friendship was still there. Holding on to this thought, she allowed herself to go to his side, over and over again. Every time Song Zihao cried and made a scene, saying he still loved her, her heart was genuinely touched. But those moments were just like ripples on a lake when the wind blows by, fading away without a trace in no time. It wasn't until she heard these words that it felt like an awakening. She slowly came to her senses. Thinking of the figure watching her leave in the early morning mist, a wave of warmth surged from the bottom of Lang Xingqiu's heart. She gave Zihao's mother a deep bow, her voice incredibly sincere. Thank you for going out of your way to tell me this. I understand now. After leaving the hospital, Lang Xingqiu made a trip back to her family home. Her mother called her into the study, her tone unusually stern. When you first got married, I did feel that Szechuan's family background wasn't good enough for you. So I had some issues with him. But over these 3 years, seeing how much he cares for you, keeping the house in such perfect order, and taking such great care of us elders too, I've slowly let go of those prejudices. You're not getting any younger, and there are things I don't want to keep nagging you about. Let the past be the past. Don't keep clinging to it anymore. You have good taste. You picked a wonderful husband. It's time to settle down and live a good life. Marriage isn't like dating. It's like a bowl of slow-cooked porridge. It's all about a steady, long-lasting warmth. You and Szechuan didn't have an emotional foundation before getting married, and you're both so young. There are so many things you need to talk out clearly and promptly. Don't let them weigh on your hearts and build up into misunderstandings. Do you understand? Lang Xingqiu never expected her usually quiet mother would talk to her so earnestly about everyday matters, but she knew her mother was absolutely right. She respectfully lowered her head. You're right, I know exactly what to do. Her mother nodded, pleased, and then pulled out a small box. This is the jade pendant your grandmother gave me when I got married. Give it to Szechuan. Your father's birthday is the day after tomorrow. Remember to bring him home, so the whole family can have a nice dinner together. Lang Xingqiu opened the box, and looking at the pair of imperial green jade pendants inside, she was stunned for a moment. It reminded her of the wedding 3 years ago, the one that caused such a massive uproar. After Song Zihao announced over the phone to the entire venue that he was calling off the wedding, the faces of both families' relatives dropped. They walked out immediately. She was left standing completely alone in the center of the stage. Her heart completely shattered as she picked up the microphone. She let out all those pent-up emotions she'd been burying inside. As for what exactly she said, she didn't even know herself. Until I stood up, got pushed backstage by her overly eager friends, and finally reappeared in her line of sight. Only then did she snap out of it. As the wedding march began to play, I changed into that slightly baggy suit and walked firmly, step by step, right to her side. Perhaps infected by my unwavering resolve, Lang Xingqiu's completely numb heart sparked with a desperate surge of courage. Even though she didn't even know her new groom's name, she made a vow right then and there. She would spend the rest of her life cherishing the man putting the ring on her finger. She would never let him down. Lang Xingqiu placed the box with the jade pendants into the glove compartment on the passenger side, but right before closing it, she noticed a document in there. She frowned, trying hard to remember when it had been put there, but drew a complete blank. Just as she was reaching out to check it, Song Zihao called her. Xingqiu, my parents just left. My friends heard I got discharged and want to throw me a party. Are you done with work yet? Do you want to come over and join us? This time, Lang Xingqiu didn't hesitate at all. She rejected him flat out. Song Zihao's tone immediately dropped, sounding pathetic. Just as he was about to start whining, she used a meeting as an excuse and hung up the phone. She shoved the glove compartment shut and drove straight home. The normally lively villa was unusually quiet today. Lang Xingqiu looked around and noticed that a lot of things were missing from the living room. The hairpin she left on the coffee table months ago, the glass on the dining table, the cushions on the couch, they were all things that I had bought. Trivial little things that she never would have noticed before. But for some reason, this time she keenly sensed that something was terribly wrong. She stopped the butler, asking why so many things were missing from the house. Sir threw them all away. The elderly butler bowed as he answered, then looked up at her. Miss, are you really going to divorce sir? Hey, Ching, on a snowy day like this, I knew you'd be stuck at home. How long has it been since you hung out with us? Come on, let's go get some drinks. A group of her close girlfriends walked through the door arm in arm, dragging Lang Xingqiu outside before she could even say a word. That word, divorce, which she hadn't even gotten a chance to utter, was completely drowned out by their chatter. Even though they said they were going drinking, her friends were still mindful of Qingqiu's health. They only dared to bring her a few glasses of plain water. She watched the others playing games, took a couple of sips, pulled out her phone, and opened my chat. She typed out a message. Did you have to go out today? Where did you go? What time are you coming back? Just send me the address. I'll come pick you up in a bit. It's snowing and the roads are slippery, so walk carefully, don't slip and fall. Before she could even hit send, her friend beside her, who had just hung up the phone, suddenly turned pale. She yanked Ling Qingqiu up and shouted at the people around the table. Her voice extremely rushed. Let's go, let's go. We're changing spots. There's some fresh drama to see. The whole group was completely baffled by her out-of-nowhere outburst. But the moment they heard there was drama, everyone instantly got hyped up. They all crammed into the car. The whole ride, everyone kept asking where they were going. But she didn't say a single word, only sneaking glances at Ling Qingqiu every now and then. Their destination was a bar they had never been to before. Right before getting out of the car, this friend pushed Ling Qingqiu to the very front, then said something totally bizarre. Ching Jia, I've been hearing rumors about some things for a while now. I held it in until I was absolutely certain before I decided to tell you. Whatever you see in there, please don't blame me. I'm genuinely doing this for your own good. We all grew up together like real sisters. Hearing her speak with such a serious tone, the smile on Ling Qingqiu's face slowly vanished. She stared at the door right in front of her, and hesitantly raised her hand. The moment she pushed the door open, the entire scene inside the bar was fully exposed. In the neon-lit hall, everyone was lost in the deafening, bass-heavy music. A bright white spotlight shined directly down, perfectly illuminating a couple making out passionately right in the middle of the stage. Even from a distance, Ling Qingqiu recognized him in a heartbeat. It was Song Zihao. He had his arms wrapped around a gorgeous, fiery woman, his hands wandering all over her back. He looked like a completely different person from the quirky, arrogant, and reckless rich heir she knew. In an instant, the 7 or 8 of them standing at the doorway fell dead silent. In sharp contrast to their dead silence were the increasingly rowdy cheers echoing across the hall. Holy shit, going this hard right after getting out of the hospital? They've been making out for half an hour. Aren't they gonna suffocate? They're a couple and they're feeling it. What's wrong with a little making out? You're just jealous. Don't even try to deny it. Zihao has been dating this girl for half a year now, right? He's still not bored of her? How long do you guys think this one will last? You think she'll beat Ling Qingqiu's record? Don't even try to guess what Zihao is thinking. He's honestly just playing around. Look at Ling Qingqiu. He dumped her 3 years ago, and now that he's in the mood again. Isn't he just teasing her like a stray dog? Hearing Song Zihao's friends running their mouths so shamelessly, the girls felt their blood boil in an instant. There was no way they were going to swallow this insult. They shoved their way through the crowd and stormed right in. One went straight to cut off the music. Another ran to flip on the main lights, while the rest of them jumped right onto the stage. They completely surrounded the two who were still practically glued together. This sudden ambush completely shattered the party vibe. Snapping back to reality, Song Zihao stared at the group of girls who had somehow just crashed the party. His face turned incredibly ugly. After glancing around and noticing that Ling Qingqiu wasn't with them, he let out a quiet sigh of relief. With a cold glare, he looked at this hostile group and snapped, "How the hell did you guys find this place? I didn't invite you. What the hell are you doing here?" They were already fuming. Hearing this, they fired right back at him. It's just a damn bar. If other people can come, why can't we? Do we need an invitation from you? What's the matter? Having a little honeymoon with your new girlfriend? Afraid we'll see and go snitch, huh? Not wanting to lose face in front of his friends and his girlfriend, Song Zihao let his temper get the better of him and snapped back. Snitch? What do I have to be afraid of? I'm just in a relationship. You think I'm scared of Ling Qingqiu finding out? She's a married woman, for God's sake. Is she gonna dictate her ex-boyfriend's love life now? As soon as the words left his mouth, the guys around them actually started clapping and whistling. But seeing the girls smiling instead of getting angry, Song Zihao's heart sank. He realized something was very wrong. Just as he was about to ask what was going on, one of the girls cut him off. So, you're finally done playing the heartbroken, devoted ex? Showing your true colors now? Not gonna act anymore? You've been dating this girl for 6 months. Why do you have to be so damn greedy? And keep messing with Qing all this time? Hearing this, Song Zihao's girlfriend also sensed something was off, and her face darkened. Song Zihao never expected things to blow up like this today. He knew it was getting out of hand. So he just bit the bullet and blurted out without thinking, "No. She's the one desperately throwing herself at me, begging to get back together. I'm so freaking sick of her. Why the hell would I go mess with her? She clings to me like a stray dog, and I just can't shake her off. I was already tired of her 3 years ago, which is exactly why I ran away from the wedding. It had absolutely nothing to do with going abroad. The only person I love right now is my girlfriend. Is that really how you feel? Is it?" Faced with their fierce interrogation, Song Zihao refused to back down. He craned his neck, like a proud peacock. "Of course, even if Ling Qingqiu were standing right here, I would tell her the exact same truth to her face. With that declaration, the whole place went dead silent. The girls exchanged a look and stepped back in unison, clearing a path. Seeing their coordinated movement, Song Zihao's right eyelid gave a violent twitch. He slowly turned his head, and saw that painfully familiar figure standing right there. His racing heart turned to absolute ice. The crowd of onlookers also followed his gaze and turned their heads. For the first time in 3 years, Ling Xingqiu was once again the center of everyone's attention. But this time, her face was completely blank. All that remained was the quiet relief of someone who had finally let go. And the calm of a closing curtain. She looked at the man on the stage, the man she had loved for so many years but could never truly have. The groom who had abandoned her all alone at the altar. At this very moment, he looked like a total stranger. It felt as though she was seeing him for the very first time. And yet, she had known him for 18 years. Thank you for not lying to me anymore. Thank you for finally telling me the truth. Song Zihao. Amidst the countless whispers in the room, Ling Xingqiu's voice was peaceful and perfectly calm. After calmly delivering those words to the entire room, a faint smile touched the corners of her lips. And in that moment, she thought of me. She finally, truly understood just how much agonizing pressure I had been under that day, when I chose to stand by her side. For someone as cautious and quiet as me, to go to such lengths, all for her. But it took her 3 years to finally see my overwhelming, burning love. Fortunately, there was still time. Ling Xingqiu didn't waste any more time on these meaningless things. She turned around, and left without a second thought. After getting back into her car, Ling Xingqiu unlocked her phone, and finally sent the message she hadn't had the chance to send earlier. With a ding, she thought I had replied in seconds. She looked down, but amidst the green and white chat bubbles, that glaring red exclamation mark caught her eye. She stared at the friend request prompt below it. Completely baffled, she tried sending a few more messages, but she was still blocked. Her heart, usually as calm as a still lake, suddenly rippled with panic. Logic told her something must have happened, but her emotions desperately pushed back, trying to find excuses to calm herself down. This morning, I saw him out just like always. He looked perfectly fine, and he even waved goodbye to me. Maybe he just deleted me by mistake? Ling Xingqiu tried frantically to reassure herself, but her foot slamming the gas pedal to the floor completely betrayed her panicked heart. She ran 10 red lights in a row, and raced back home before dark. The house looked exactly the same as when she left. Still quiet, so coldly empty that it didn't even feel like home anymore. She saw the kitchen light on, and thought I was in there making her hangover soup. She burst straight in. There was indeed a pot simmering on the stove, but it was just the nanny watching the fire. Seeing her, the nanny hastily greeted her, clumsily pouring a bowl of soup and handing it over. Ling Xingqiu hadn't been drinking, but she took a small sip anyway. As the hot liquid hit her tongue, it wasn't the familiar taste she was used to. Ling Xingqiu furrowed her brows. This hangover soup, didn't sir make it? The young nanny frantically apologized. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Sir taught me how to make this soup before he moved out. But I didn't get it quite right. Please wait a moment. I'll make you a fresh batch right away. But in that entire sentence, Ling Xingqiu only heard 4 words, before he moved out. Her wildly pounding heart plummeted straight into an endlessly dark abyss. When did he move out? Just this morning, ma'am. Right after you left. The living room, the bedroom, the study, the bathrooms. Ling Xingqiu tore through every single corner of the house. But there was absolutely no trace of me left. Hearing the commotion, the old butler rushed over. And seeing her looking so panicked and lost, he finally blurted out the question that had been suffocating him. Ma'am, why on earth did you agree to divorce, sir? Divorce? Hearing that word, Ling Xingqiu felt her entire world violently spinning. She had never, ever heard me mention such a thing. Why did everyone assume she was the one who wanted a divorce? She frantically racked her brain, replaying everything that had happened recently, desperately searching for any clues. Then, she remembered those vague words I told her this morning. The thing you want most. I actually gave it to you a month ago. Recalling those words, she never got the chance to clarify. Ling Xingqiu's panic spiraled completely out of control. She immediately ordered her secretary to track down my whereabouts. While getting back into her car to search for me herself, she drove straight to the old house I lived in before we got married. Only to find the doors and windows completely boarded up. The neighbors nearby told her that I had come back yesterday and thrown away a lot of my things. It looked like a long trip. And then, a second later, her secretary's message popped up. Ms. Ling, I looked into it. He bought a ticket to San Francisco 2 weeks ago. His flight left this morning. He should be landing right about now. It hit her then. I wasn't just moving out. I was leaving the country. The moment that sank in, a deep chill ran through Ling Xingqiu's veins. She just couldn't figure it out. Why I would suddenly want a divorce, why I'd just vanish without a single warning. Wasn't being her husband, wasn't standing by her side. The only thing I ever wanted? After telling her secretary to book the next flight to the US, she got back into her car. She didn't start the engine. She just leaned back, staring blankly at our chat, where she had blocked me. Her phone beeped with a low battery warning. She pulled open the console drawer to grab a charging cable, and her eyes caught on that manila folder. This time, she finally reached for it. The document that had been sitting there for an entire month. She opened it, and the moment she saw the words, divorce agreement, her hands started shaking uncontrollably, but she forced herself to keep it together, flipping through it, page by page, right until the very last one. Seeing her own handwritten signature right there on the paper, she froze completely. Her signature? Why on earth was it on a divorce agreement? Why couldn't she remember signing it at all? Her mind raced, desperately trying to piece together all the little details she had ignored and forgotten. I was the one who handed her this, and the only time I'd ever asked for her signature was one evening, exactly a month ago. I told her I had a gift for her. She hadn't even bothered to look. She just signed it and walked away. I left that agreement right in her car. I even reminded her, so many times, to actually look at it. The divorce had already gone through, but she never opened it, not even once. Those dozen flimsy pages felt like a ton of bricks in her hands. Only now, in this very moment, did she finally realize why I left her. When my flight touched down in San Francisco, it was mid-afternoon. Right outside the arrivals gate, I saw her. My old professor, Fu Wanting. It had been way too long. Back in my senior year, she had quit teaching to start her own business. After 3 hard years, she had finally carved out a real spot for herself in Silicon Valley. I had just officially accepted her job offer, which is why I packed up and moved across the world. This brilliant woman in her early 30s always knew how to connect with her students back on campus. And out here in the real world, she hadn't changed a bit. The second she saw me, she waved with a huge smile. Szechuan, it's been forever. I rolled my suitcase over to her, a big grin spreading across my own face. Professor Fu, it really has been. Oh, come on, I quit teaching ages ago. Drop the professor, if you don't mind. Just call me Wanting from now on. Her warm, easygoing vibe immediately made me feel at home in this strange new country. I didn't bother being formal anymore. I just smiled and went with it. You got it, Wanting. She let out a happy laugh, grabbed my arm, and led the way to her place. On the ride back, we caught up on so much. From all our old classroom jokes to everything that happened since she left. Honestly, it made us both pretty emotional. Szechuan, 6 months ago when you finished your masters, I invited you to come to the States, but you turned me down. What made you suddenly change your mind? My gaze froze for a split second, but I quickly hid it. Back then, I just hadn't figured out what I wanted to do next. Plus, for family reasons, I wasn't really keen on going abroad. That's why I said no. But I've thought it through now. Since I don't know what lies ahead, I might as well take a leap of faith. Who knows, maybe I'll find a new dream along the way. Fu Wanting had been in my shoes before. She knew that young people fresh out of school are always a bit lost at first. She totally understood how I was feeling right now, and offered some comforting words. That's life, you know. You just take it one step at a time. Look at me. I spent a few years teaching at a university, only to realize the ivory tower life wasn't for me. So, I decided to step out and see the real world. You're still so young. Feeling lost is completely normal. But as long as you're brave enough to take that first step, I know you'll find your purpose. Having Fu Wanting right there as living proof was exactly the reassurance I needed. I felt so much more at peace. After parking the car, Fu Wanting took me up to the apartment. It was a standard 2-bedroom place, facing south, flooded with natural light. There was even a supermarket right downstairs. Looking at the spotless, beautifully clean rooms, I felt the sheer exhaustion draining from my body. Fu Wanting showed me around, walked me through everything I needed to know, and then dragged me out for a good meal. After we ate, we made a quick run to the supermarket to stock up on all the daily essentials. Once she dropped me back home, Fu Wanting didn't stick around to bother me. She just left her address and headed out. I took a hot shower and laid down in bed, watching the sky slowly turn dark outside my window. I suddenly felt this surreal, disorienting sense of displacement. My mind was racing with random thoughts, but I quickly drifted off to sleep. I had a dream. In my dream, I was sitting at Leng Qingqiu's wedding. But this time, Song Zihao didn't run away. He actually married her. I watched with my own eyes as they exchanged rings, swearing to spend the rest of their lives together. As they kissed to the cheers of the crowd, I quietly slipped away, back to a dead silent campus. I buried myself in my studies for 3 years. After graduating, I flew to the States to start fresh, and never looked back. Maybe the dream just felt too incredibly real, because when I woke up the next morning, I was completely dazed. I couldn't quite tell reality from the dream anymore. I just sat there alone on the couch for the longest time. It wasn't until noon that a phone call from Fu Wanting finally snapped me out of it. Szechuan, are you up? I'm right downstairs. Let's grab some lunch. I headed down and spotted Fu Wanting's car in the parking lot. I pulled open the passenger door, and as I leaned in, I vaguely noticed someone sitting in the back seat. Out of basic politeness, I didn't stare, figuring Fu Wanting would introduce us in a second. But after I sat down and buckled up, Fu Wanting didn't say a word. Instead, a chillingly familiar voice came from the back. Did you sleep well? Szechuan? The moment that voice hit my ears, my head snapped up. I looked straight into the rearview mirror and saw a face I knew all too well. It was Ling Qingqiu. I hadn't seen her for a day, and she looked incredibly exhausted. For a moment, a million things rushed to my throat, but I didn't even know where to start. In the end, I just didn't say a single word. The car fell into dead silence. A minute later, Wanting finally realized the vibe was totally off. She quickly turned to look at me, trying to smooth things over. Szechuan, this is your old classmate, Ling Qingqiu. Don't you remember her? She called me right after she landed at the airport and said she wanted to see me. I figured since you two are classmates, we should all grab a bite together. You don't mind, do you? I did mind, but in front of Wanting, who was completely clueless about our history, I had to play it cool. So, I could only pretend everything was perfectly fine. Forcing a smile, I replied, Wanting, whatever you arrange is great. I'm just struggling with the jet lag. Feeling a little dizzy, Wanting smiled and nodded. She gestured for me to take my time, then turned around to check on Qingqiu in the back seat. Qingqiu, are you holding up okay? Do you want to head back and get some rest first? We can always meet up later. Qingqiu hadn't slept a wink for almost 30 hours. But she knew right now wasn't the time to rest. So, she gently shook her head. No need, let's just go eat. I've already made the reservations. You two barely seem to talk back in school. Who would have thought you'd still cross paths like this after graduation? Running into each other all the way in San Francisco. Running into each other? Even with my head down, I could feel her burning gaze drilling into the back of my head. I knew damn well that if Qingqiu was here, she was here for me. I closed my eyes and rubbed my temples, trying to get my brain in gear to handle whatever was about to happen. Meanwhile, the conversation between the two of them kept going. It wasn't exactly a coincidence. I came to San Francisco to take care of something very important. So running into Szechuan was meant to happen. Listening to her tone, it sounded like we were incredibly close. But looking at my reaction, we seemed like total strangers. This messy dynamic left Wanting totally confused. Wait, so you came here looking for Szechuan? Have you guys been keeping in touch since graduation? Are you close? Not really. I cut in and answered before she even had a chance to speak. Hearing those words, Qingqiu's eyes darkened noticeably. She pursed her lips slightly. Well, you were classmates for 4 years, after all. It's fine if you aren't close right now. Just keep in touch more, and you'll naturally grow closer. Oh, by the way, Qingqiu, are you in the States for work this time? Did you come all by yourself, without your family? I heard you got married, and your husband was in your class too, right? Hearing that, my heart started pounding in my chest. I couldn't help but clench my fists tightly. After what felt like an eternity, I finally heard Qingqiu's hoarse, broken voice. Yes, but not too long ago. He asked me for a divorce. I came to the States this time to settle exactly that. Wanting hadn't expected her casual gossip to hit such a deeply personal nerve. The air instantly turned incredibly awkward. I really didn't want to drag this topic out any longer, so I bluntly changed the subject. Wanting, did we book a Western or Chinese place for today? How much longer is the drive? I haven't eaten a single thing since I woke up. I'm getting a little hungry. Fu Wanting looked at me with deep gratitude. She quickly chimed in, the Western restaurant is just a few hundred meters away. We're almost there. We ended up eating for 1 hour. Watching me bury my head in my food, Ling Qingqiu had no choice but to swallow the questions she had been holding back for so long. Halfway through the meal, an emergency suddenly came up at the company. Fu Wanting had to rush off to handle it, so she left early. The casual get-together suddenly turned into a tense standoff between a divorcing couple. The atmosphere instantly froze. After I finished my last piece of steak, Ling Qingqiu gently offered me a napkin. I didn't take it. Instead, I stood up and pulled a fresh one myself. My tone was detached, cutting straight to the chase. If you have something to say, just say it all right now. Ling Qingqiu's outstretched hand froze in midair. She met my gaze, even though we hadn't seen each other for just a day. The man sitting in front of her was completely different from the compliant, gentle husband she remembered. She didn't know if I was the one who had changed, or if she had simply never bothered to know the real me. 3 years of marriage. Aside from our intimate moments in bed, she barely ever really looked at my face, let alone notice my emotional shifts. Now, facing this completely unfamiliar version of me, Ling Qingqiu was totally at a loss. But she knew one thing for sure. My decision to ask for a divorce was undeniably her fault. So, the moment we started talking, she offered a deeply sincere apology. Szechuan, I am so sorry. Over the past 3 years, I failed completely as a wife. I never gave you a normal, loving home. And I completely ignored everything you sacrificed for me. I knew every word she said in that moment came straight from her heart. But I felt absolutely nothing from this overdue apology. I realized that Ling Qingqiu and I were a mistake from the very beginning. We were doomed to fail no matter what. So I just gave her one simple response. I don't need your apologies. All I want is for you to submit that divorce agreement and mail me the divorce certificate. That's all. Lang Xingqiu sat there, completely stunned. On her flight here, she actually thought there was still a chance to fix this. She had stayed awake all night figuring out how to apologize and win me back. But in this very moment, she finally realized just how rock solid my decision was. Looking at my eerily calm face, a flash of pure panic crossed her eyes. Her voice grew desperate and rushed. Do we really have to get a divorce? But why? I stared at her, unwavering. I married you because I was in love with you. And I'm divorcing you, because I don't love you anymore. It's that simple. After walking out of that restaurant, I didn't go back home. Instead, I went straight to find Fu Wanting. Seeing me show up all by myself, Fu Wanting looked a bit surprised. Where's Qingqiu? She left. She had some things to take care of too. I figured since I'm starting work in a couple of days, I'd drop by and check the place out first. Fu Wanting didn't think much of it. She had just finished wrapping up her work anyway, so she enthusiastically gave me a full tour of the company. Once she got off the clock, we grabbed some dinner together, and only then did I head back to my apartment. I unlocked my phone and saw a new message request. It was from Lang Qingqiu. I've been thinking about what you said right before we parted ways. Since you've already completely made up your mind about the divorce, I'll respect your wishes. I'm the one who didn't deserve your love. I let you down. I'm so sorry, but we were married for 3 years, after all. Even though we've split up, can we still be friends? Friends? Between me and Lang Qingqiu? Is there really any reason to stay friends? I just don't see it. In my mind, we should just part on good terms. And never see each other again. So, I didn't accept her friend request right away. When I was about to go to bed at 10 o'clock that night, I noticed Lang Qingqiu had sent another request. This time, she added a note. There are a few clauses in the divorce agreement I want to discuss with you. It's about the divorce. I tapped accept. Lang Qingqiu didn't waste any time. She highlighted the changes in red and sent them straight over. I took a closer look, and realized she had changed the original property division into a 50-50 split. Which meant, once I got the divorce certificate, I'd be walking away with half of Lang Qingqiu's entire net worth. But this just made me anxious. I ended up sending her a voice message about the property division. Let's just stick to the original contract. You don't need to give me so much just because of the marriage laws. I feel guilty taking it. Lang Qingqiu seemed to have expected me to say that. She replied almost instantly. I know, you didn't marry me for the money. I didn't change the contract to compensate you, either. It's just the law. This is what you deserve. Don't overthink it. I tried explaining myself a few more times. But Lang Qingqiu kept giving me the same excuse. I was tired, and didn't want to argue anymore, so I just let her have her way. Days went by, and I officially started my new job. I slowly got used to the corporate life. A month later, I received the divorce certificate, along with countless properties, shares, and other assets. Staring at the endless string of zeros in my bank account, I had no idea what to do with it. So, I just tucked it away, and pretended nothing had happened. Going about my life as usual, the bitter winter eventually passed. Spring arrived, and I went to work just like any other day. As soon as I got to the office, Fu Wanting called me into her office for a meeting. During the meeting, she needed to pick an assistant to go back home with her to negotiate a partnership. Her eyes swept over everyone in the room, and finally landed on me. Szechuan, you're coming with me. Being called out so suddenly, I was completely caught off guard. I had only been working there for a quarter. Logically speaking, there was no way I was ready for such an important task. But since Fu Wanting chose me, I had no choice but to agree. After the meeting ended, the two of us stayed behind, as if by silent agreement. Fu Wanting didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point. Szechuan, on this trip back, even though we'll be discussing details with 4 different companies at once, our main focus will be the partnership with the Lang Group. Hearing the name Lang, I faintly guessed what was going on. I looked at Fu Wanting, my eyes filled with hesitation. Is it Lang Qingqiu? Fu Wanting nodded. She hesitated for a moment, but chose to be completely honest. After our little get-together last time, Qingqiu actually met with me privately. The foundation for this project was set back then. As for what happened between you and her, she actually told me a few things, but I felt that was your private business. So I never brought it up. But right now, this project has reached its most critical stage. To make absolutely sure nothing goes wrong, I'd like to ask you a favor. Come back home with me for the project negotiations. I know I might be crossing a line here, but I hope you can understand. Honestly, I didn't quite get what Fu Wanting was driving at. I'm just a rookie who recently joined the company, with zero background and zero connections. For such a massive project, what good would bringing me along actually do? Just because I'm Lang Qingqiu's ex-husband? That was the only reason I could think of. But Lang Qingqiu didn't even like me. Our divorce was as clean and ruthless as it gets. And she hasn't reached out to me since. Why on earth would Fu Wanting think she'd compromise just for my sake? To avoid any pointless misunderstandings, I laid out the truth. Wanting. I didn't tell you before because we were already divorced, and I figured it just didn't matter. But since this project is a huge deal, I'm just going to give it to you straight. Lang Qingqiu and I were really nothing more than a passing fling. She doesn't have feelings for me. We didn't share any real bond as a married couple, and when we split, it was a clean break. From what I know about her, even though she can be deeply loyal, she still sticks strictly to her principles when business is on the line. If you're thinking that bringing me to the negotiations will somehow boost our chances of success, then I'm afraid I have to burst your bubble. Hearing this version of their marriage directly from the other person involved, Fu Wanting found it incredibly bizarre. She gestured for me to take a seat, and couldn't help but ask, "Are you absolutely sure that Lang Qingqiu has no feelings for you?" I nodded without a second thought. Seeing how completely sure I was, Fu Wanting couldn't help but flash back to the conversation she had with Lang Qingqiu right before she left San Francisco. "Professor Fu, Szechuan and I are actually married. Well, more accurately, we're currently divorced. I completely failed him in our marriage. He was deeply disappointed in me, so he asked for a divorce." Szechuan was extremely firm about it. I didn't want to cause him any more pain, so I let him go. But honestly, I desperately want to win him back. It's just that we both need some time to cool off and think right now. Szechuan definitely wouldn't be willing to come back with me, so could I beg you to look after him for a while? And as a token of my absolute gratitude, I'd be more than willing to give you the partnership on this project. Even though a lot of time had passed since then, the utterly heartbroken look on Lang Qingqiu's face, and her agonizingly sincere tone, were still burned into Fu Wanting's memory. But since Lang Qingqiu had already admitted there were deep issues between us, she didn't want to pry too deeply. She just asked for my final answer. "I'll be handling the business side of the project, so don't overthink things. The reason I want to bring you along is, well, partly out of my own selfish motives, and partly because I really want you to gain some field experience. Just treat it like any other regular business trip. Follow the standard operating procedures, and you'll be fine. Are we good?" Having worked with her for this long, I knew perfectly well that Fu Wanting was a straight shooter. She was never the type to play games behind my back. Besides, this business trip really was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I didn't want to just let it slip away. So, after agonizing over it for a while, I finally said yes. Our flight back home was locked in for exactly 1 week later. I kept myself insanely busy wrapping up work while packing my bags. Strangely enough, the closer it got to our departure date, the calmer I actually felt. Looking back on everything, it really just feels like it was all a dream. Now the dream is over, and I'm completely wide awake. I won't be holding on to the past anymore. And as for Lang Qingqiu, we're just back to square one. She's just become some old classmate to me, nothing more. Coming back to this familiar city once again, my entire mindset has completely flipped upside down. I pushed my luggage, chatting and laughing with Fu Wanting as we walked out of the airport. As we were talking, Fu Wanting spotted her parents. She waved into the distance, and after introducing me to them, her folks warmly insisted I go home with them, but I knew the three of them would have so much catching up to do. So, not wanting to crash their family reunion, I politely declined. After saying our goodbyes for now, I pushed my luggage out of the airport all by myself, only to find that it was pouring rain outside, and the roads were completely empty. I pulled up a ride-sharing app, and just as I was about to request a car, a black car suddenly pulled up right in front of me. I instinctively looked up, and saw Lang Qingqiu walking over with an umbrella. I never expected her to show up here. I froze for a second, but she walked straight up to me. "Long time no see. Szechuan, have you been doing okay?" I instinctively took a few steps back, putting some distance between us. "I'm fine." My coldness clearly caught her off guard, but she knew it made total sense. After all, we were just a divorced couple now. So, she quickly pulled herself together, and glanced at the suitcase in my hand. "The rain is too heavy. Let me drive you back to your hotel." Seeing the notification on my screen that a driver had already accepted my ride, I shook my head. I turned her down. "No need. I already got a car." "Then at least take the umbrella. Otherwise, your luggage is going to get soaked." I had no idea why she was suddenly acting so caring. It gave me this really weird feeling. "I don't need your help. And frankly, I don't think there's any reason for us to stay in touch anymore. Don't you agree, Ms. Lang?" Those words were like a sharp needle, piercing straight into Lang Qingqiu's heart. Her hand, tucked inside her sleeve, trembled slightly. She forced a bitter smile. "We're divorced, so, we can't even be friends anymore?" I slipped my phone back into my pocket, and pulled out my own umbrella from my bag. Looking at my ride pulling up, I replied, "Even before we got married, we were nothing more than ordinary classmates. Now that we're divorced, it's best we just go right back to how things were. You and I were never from the same world anyway. There's no need for us to be friends." Every single word was completely devoid of emotion. Now, it was Lang Qingqiu's turn to freeze. She just stood there, watching the driver help load my luggage into the trunk, watching me open the car door, watching me fold up my umbrella. She could feel that something was slowly, completely slipping away from her. Unable to hold back, she stepped forward and grabbed the car door right as it was about to close. I don't think we're from different worlds, Szechuan. Maybe you've heard countless people judging your background, gossiping about you choosing to marry me. But I need you to know, I have never, ever looked down on you, and I never once thought that you weren't worthy to stand by my side. You just calmly accepted everything you were given, and bravely chased after what you truly wanted. You really don't need to belittle yourself. Living on my own for almost 10 years now, that was the very first time I had ever heard someone say that to me. I turned my head to look at her, and let out a faint smile. Rare to hear that coming from you. Thanks. After dropping my bags off at the hotel, the rain finally stopped. I grabbed my bag and hurried over to the restaurant to meet up with Shu Xingzhou. We gave each other a massive bro hug and immediately started catching up on everything. When Shu heard that I walked away with half of Ling Qingzhou's net worth, his jaw dropped so hard he could have swallowed a whole dinner plate. He grabbed me by the shoulders and practically shrieked. Ah, my boy is loaded now. Holy crap, if I cling to your coattails now, I'm set for life, right? I quickly slapped a hand over his mouth and dragged him into a private room. Once we were finally alone, his eyes darted around like a thief. He whispered, did the money actually hit your account? Well, yeah, it did. But I'm terrified to touch it. It feels like this crazy windfall that could just be snatched right back at any second. He grabbed my hand and started giving me this earnest pep talk. What do you mean, windfall? That is legally your money, man. Since Ling Qingzhou decided to be so damn generous, you just take it and spend it. What is there to feel guilty about? It's not like you held a knife to her throat and forced her to marry you. Honestly, he had a really good point. Seeing me finally drop my guard, he grinned and snatched up the menu. Without even looking, he slammed it into the waiter's hand. Bring us everything you got that's expensive. Australian lobster, whatever. Just bring us one of each. After acting like a total baller, he leaned back, looking completely smug and satisfied. How was my performance just now? Did I give off that rich guy vibe? I gave him a double thumbs up, totally ready to mess with him. Oh, you looked really cool. I just wonder if our Master Shu is gonna have that same swagger when the bill actually arrives. Wait, Szechuan, aren't you paying for this? After an absolute feast, Shu was completely stuffed and happy. I looked at his blissed out face, pressed the call button, and was just about to ask for the check, when a horribly sarcastic voice suddenly sneered from behind us. Well, if it isn't Lu Szechuan. We both looked up and saw a whole group of people coming down from the second floor. Most of them were our old classmates from a university, and they were all crowding around Song Zihao as he strutted over to us. The second he saw them, Shu leaned right into my ear. He started whispering the hottest gossip. Dude, the very second day after you left the country, the news about Song Zihao cheating with multiple girls blew up everywhere. It dragged in so many people that it literally went viral online. Word is, Ling Qingzhou's girls were the ones who exposed him. Ever since then, his reputation has been complete trash. Once he realized he couldn't cover it up anymore, he went crawling right back to Ling Qingzhou, begging her to take him back. But she didn't give him the time of day. Man, you should have seen his face when she rejected him in public. He turned all shades of pale. It was freaking hilarious. Just as he said that, Song Zihao stopped right next to our table. He must have heard bits and pieces of us talking about him, because his face instantly went black with anger. He glared down at me, his eyes full of pure venom. His voice shook with rage. Lu Szechuan, I thought you left the country. What the hell are you doing back here? That's none of your business, is it? What are you so smug about? You actually think just because you're back, you have a shot at getting back with Ling Qingzhou? She never gave a damn about you before, and she sure as hell doesn't care now. I had no idea why he was acting so insanely hostile towards me. I mean, I was literally already divorced from Ling Qingzhou, but whatever, I wasn't about to get into a fight with his little posse. I paid the bill, grabbed Shu Xingzhou, and turned to leave. My complete disregard only made Song Zihao even more furious. He blocked our path right away and sneered, you hijacked my wedding. And walked away with half of Ling Qingzhou's fortune. But deep down, you're nothing but a scheming, gold-digging social climber. Stop putting on an act in front of me. Even if you got your hands on all that cash, what good is it? Look at you, you still reek of that pathetic, cheap stench you just can't hide. Stand back, don't make me gag. His little group of lackeys heard this and immediately burst into mocking laughter. Shu Xingzhou was furious and was about to step up and argue with them, but I quickly pulled him back. I looked at Song Zihao with a perfectly calm expression, and said in a flat voice, that money was given to me by Ling Qingzhou of her own free will. Just like those nasty rumors you've been spreading everywhere. It's completely justified, and absolutely well-deserved. After saying that, I didn't even bother to check Song Zihao's reaction. I just dragged Shu Xingzhou away. Struck right in his sore spot, Song Zihao flew into a humiliating rage. He violently shoved a waiter who happened to be walking by. A heavy bowl of boiling hot soup flipped over, and just as the scorching liquid was about to splash all over me and Shu Xingzhou, Ling Qingzhou suddenly appeared. She immediately shoved both of us out of the way. The sizzling soup drenched her entire left arm. Her exposed skin was scorched. instantly erupting into countless horrible blisters. Song Zihao never expected her to show up here. He totally panicked, rushing forward to check on her injuries. Lang Qingchu desperately suppressed the agonizing pain, gritting her teeth as she glared at him. Her gaze was colder than absolute ice. Out of respect for your parents, I haven't gone after you for the things you've done, but if you're going to keep acting like a relentless bastard, then I don't mind teaching you a brutal lesson. Song Zihao tried to explain himself, but Lang Qingchu gave him absolutely no chance. She just led the two of us out of there. As the cold night wind hit my face, my mind finally cleared up a bit. I looked at the horrific burns on her arm, and reached straight into her pocket to grab the car keys. We rushed straight to the hospital. When the doctor saw such massive, severe burns, even they were shocked, and quickly called in the nurses to treat her. It was getting really late, and Xu Xingzhou had to work the next morning. I had to convince him for ages before he finally agreed to go home. Soon, it was just the two of us left in the emergency room. I turned around and looked at Lang Qingchu, who was trying so hard to endure the pain. I pulled out a couple of tissues, and gently wiped the heavy drops of sweat from her forehead. She looked up, seeing the deep guilt pooling in my eyes. Her voice trembled as she tried to comfort me. My injury, it has nothing to do with you. It's entirely because of me that he's holding such a grudge against you. I should be the one apologizing to you. I knew that arguing about who was right or wrong in this situation was completely pointless now, so I didn't say a single word. Instead, I just took the doctor's prescription to go pick up her medication. By the time I came back, her burns were fully bandaged up. The doctor went over a long list of precautions with us, and finally let us go. I drove the car, taking Lang Qingchu back to her place. Stepping back into this huge villa, looking at the living room that looked exactly the same as it used to. A wave of pure nostalgia washed over me. When the old butler saw that I was back, his face instantly lit up with pure joy. He hurried over, babbling nonstop, "Sir, you're finally back. While you were away, the young lady has been waiting for you this whole time." But right in the middle of his sentence, the butler noticed the badly injured Lang Qingchu and froze dead in his tracks. "Miss, how did you get so badly hurt?" I just acted like I didn't hear a word he said earlier. I handed over the bags of medication, and carefully repeated the doctor's instructions to him. I turned to leave, watching my fading silhouette. Lang Qingchu felt a sudden emptiness in her chest. She desperately wanted to ask me to stay, but the words died in her throat. Seeing her look so lost and hesitant, the butler couldn't stand it anymore. He hurriedly chased after me and blocked my way, pouring out everything she hadn't managed to say. "Sir, since you're finally back, please don't leave again. For the past 3 months, aside from working, the young miss just sits in her room, staring blankly at the flowers you used to grow. You're the only one she calls out for in her sleep. She even flew to the US every single week just to see you." All these things the butler was telling me, I had absolutely no idea about. I thought she had completely moved on, and started a brand new life. Hearing all this, my first reaction was that it was absolutely absurd. Didn't Lang Qingchu only have eyes for Song Zihao? Why on earth would she do so many irrational things for an ex-husband like me? So, I didn't take a single word of it to heart. I just looked at the butler and said earnestly, "Uncle Lee, Qingchu and I are already divorced. I've let go of the past, and whatever happens to the Lang family has nothing to do with me anymore. Please stop calling me, sir. Just call me Szechuan from now on. It's getting late, so I'll be heading back now. Take good care of yourself." After taking a short 2-day break, I dove straight back into work mode. I tagged along with Fu, wanting to negotiate the details of our new partnership, and I honestly learned a lot from the experience. The project progressed incredibly smoothly, too. Everything just fell perfectly into place, without a single hitch. When it was time to negotiate with the Lang group, Lang Qingchu didn't show up herself. She just sent her vice president instead. I breathed a quiet sigh of relief and handed over the contract we'd prepared in advance. After reviewing our terms, they showed a very positive attitude toward the partnership. But they had one specific condition. For the duration of the contract, the liaison responsible for communicating between both parties had to be me. The Lang group requested me by name. Fu Wanting figured it out instantly. This was definitely Lang Qingchu's doing. She was trying to use this business deal to keep me around. After giving it some thought, Wanting decided it was best to ask for my opinion. So, after leaving the Lang group's office, we found a quiet cafe to talk. "Szechuan, I know this might be a bit intrusive, but if you're comfortable with it, could you tell me what really happened between you and Lang Qingchu?" I stayed silent for a moment, but eventually, I laid out the entire story for her. Exactly as it happened. After listening to it all, Wanting sat there in a daze, unable to snap back to reality for a long time. She just didn't know what to say. Any words of comfort would have felt incredibly hollow in that moment. A heavy silence just lingered in the room. Seeing the absolute heartbreak and pity on her face, I just gave a soft smile. With the calm relief of someone who had truly let it all go, I said, "Wanting, I know you have your concerns. I know you really want to land this project, but you also don't want to see me get hurt. The only reason I brought up all this buried history with you is to show you that I've truly, completely moved on. Whatever their motives are for making this demand, to me, it's nothing more than a job that I need to get done. I might not have a ton of experience, but as long as you and the team need me, I'm going to give it my absolute all. I won't let any of you down. Hearing my earnest promise, Fu Wanting's eyes welled up with tears. Words couldn't express her gratitude, so it all went into the clink of our glasses. At the end of April, Fu Wanting took the 4 signed contracts and prepared to fly back to San Francisco. I went to the airport to see her off. Catching sight of a familiar figure in the distance, she couldn't help but ask, "Si Chuan, you've loved her for 7 years. She's finally figured out her own feelings now. Are you really not going to give her another chance?" I knew Wanting meant well, hoping I'd find happiness, but only I knew just how agonizing those 7 years were before I finally moved on. So I simply told her, "Wanting, life doesn't come with do-overs. We all have to look forward. To make things easier for work, I rented a penthouse apartment. The very next day, a new neighbor moved in right across the hall. It was Ling Qingqiu. During my month in Jingbai, I kept running into her everywhere. By the supermarket shelves, outside the hot pot restaurant, at the park. Places she normally wouldn't even step foot in. I knew she was following me the whole time. When we'd bump into each other face to face, we'd exchange a word or two, just like normal friends. The rest of the time, she just quietly trailed behind me. Like a shadow. After she became my neighbor, we saw each other more and more, and the smile on Ling Qingqiu's face grew brighter every day. She'd constantly take the initiative to ask me out, wondering if I wanted to take a walk, grab dinner, or go on a trip together. I would always find an excuse to decline. And every time she heard the word, "sorry," the light in her eyes would instantly fade. I thought countless times that after this rejection, she'd finally give up. But when I saw her the next day, she'd bounce right back, greeting me with absolute enthusiasm. Watching her try so hard to please me, for no reason at all, I remembered her college days with Song Zihao. She was exactly like this back then. Terrified of making him angry, terrified of rejection, bending over backward to please him. To the point of losing herself entirely. But I'm not him. I could never sit back and blindly enjoy her devotion. I just wanted to live my days in peace. That was it. Time slipped by, day by day. From spring to summer, and then to late autumn and early winter. The project that had dragged on for nearly a year was finally wrapping up. The contract's end date fell exactly on my 25th birthday. I booked my flight back to San Francisco for that very day. The day before I left, I was packing my bags until the early hours of the morning. I suddenly noticed a light snow falling outside my window. Just as the clock struck 12, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find Ling Qingqiu, holding a cake. She was clearly smiling as she said, "Happy birthday," but I could see the profound sadness hidden beneath it. I froze for a second, then quickly put my usual, calm mask back on. I thanked her politely. After the candles were lit, I put my hands together and made a wish. When I opened my eyes again, I met Ling Qingqiu's gaze, filled with a faint glimmer of hope. "What did you wish for?" The conversation came to a dead stop, and the air between us completely froze. After a long while, I heard Qingqiu ask a very strange question. "Szechuan, that day you left last year. What was it you said when I walked out the door?" I didn't quite catch it back then. What was it? Honestly, I couldn't remember either. Those damp, bitter memories that I could barely bring myself to look back on had actually all faded, washed away by time. All I remember now are the bright and vibrant days. Those scenes that, whenever I think of them, make me feel so warm. They're still vivid in my mind. And now, as a brand new year approaches, I just hope that everyone I meet from now on, and everything that's about to happen, will turn out well. So, I casually made up a couple of words to answer her. "I wish you happiness. And I wish myself happiness too." When I woke up from my sleep, the world outside the window had already turned into a freezing, snow-covered wasteland. The snow was still falling. As soon as I got downstairs, I saw Qingqiu waiting by the side of the road. She walked right up to me, trying to take my luggage. Her tone held this complicated, indescribable weight. "It's impossible to catch a cab in this heavy snow. Let me drive you to the airport." This time, I didn't say no. I could tell she still had things she wanted to say. "This time, I'm leaving for good. There is no coming back." And for some things, I wanted to put a final period on them, too. Once the car started, she drove incredibly slowly. I just sat there quietly, watching the scenery roll by outside the window. Time ticked by, minute by minute. Finally, Qingqiu couldn't handle the dead silence of our parting anymore. She wanted to say something, trying desperately to suppress her completely panicked heart, hoping she could somehow move me and keep me by her side. "Szechuan, do you still remember our second Christmas after we got married? It was snowing really heavily back then, too. My mom's health was failing, and you took me to the temple to pray for her. While we were praying, I drew a fortune for our marriage. It read, 'To win the heart of my one true love.'" Listening to her recount it, the memory of that day came rushing back to me as well. After we got the fortune, the temple master looked back and forth between the two of us and said something incredibly strange. A destiny written in the stars, and a tragedy meant to be. If one can awaken to the truth in time, then it becomes the highest of fortunes. I didn't get what he meant at all. I thought I was the one he was trying to guide. For the longest time after that, I worried myself sick over those words. After all, back then, I really, truly wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. But looking back on it now, Qingshu was the one who drew the fortune. Those words were never meant for me, and the person she secretly wanted to grow old with back then wasn't even me. At the thought of that, I let out a soft chuckle. I don't really remember. Qingshu froze for a few seconds. She desperately scrambled for a new topic. Mostly, she just rambled about the trivial little things from our married life. Some things I couldn't even recall myself, yet she described them in such vivid detail. She was trying to use these mildly warm memories to make me stay, but my face remained completely blank. As if I didn't miss the past one bit. And before we knew it, the car pulled up to the airport. I grabbed my suitcase, just about to walk away. Wait, Qingshu called out from behind me. She pulled out a small box and handed it over. Her eyes were practically begging me with desperate hope. The moment I opened it, I saw a pair of jade pendants inside. I remembered them. These were the jade pendants old Mrs. Lang wore every single day. Word had it, they were the Lang family heirloom. Why on earth would she give me these? If this was supposed to be a parting gift, this is way too valuable. I really can't accept it. Rejected yet again, Lang Qingshu could barely even force a smile anymore. She choked back a sob, a sudden flash of desperation on her face. Please, just take it. It's a token of my feelings, and it's what my mother wants, too. I gently shook my head, my voice completely flat. I know exactly what this gift means. And that's exactly why I won't take it. I've told you this so many times already. Since our story is over, let's just go back to where we started. Every single word pierced deeply into Lang Qingshu. She stood frozen in the snow, staring blankly as I slowly walked away. Never looking back even once. There were only the gently falling snowflakes, resting quietly upon my head.